I spent the last 4 weeks trying out every AI design tool that I could get my greedy hands on, even the ones that haven't been released yet. I set out rules for how to test them, and I used my knowledge from working as a digital product designer and my former experience as a programmer to check and compare the code they were spitting out. And I got some expert designer friends to also give me some feedback. All of this was in order to see which of these tools takes the crown. So come with me as we pit all of these tools together. My name is Parvin. What we're doing is what I just described. This is the intro, and let's get going. So in order to keep this fair, I've only included tools that have a one-shot text-to-prompt interface. So for that reason, tools like Cursor and Windsurf are out. I just want to compare apples to apples here. Let's take a look at the prompt. So I'm going to use the same prompt for every design tool just to keep it as fair as possible. Now, LinkedIn gurus like to claim that prompt engineering is a thing, and actually to prepare for this, I read through this 68-page white paper which Google published. There are also tools like Chilled Vibes by Paul Gosnell, which can help you, and other people also recommend asking an AI to improve the prompt you're about to give an AI. But I just wrote this myself. I thought I'd just make it as clear and easy to follow as possible, give lots of context, and you can see it on screen here. And I just want to point out a few important things about this. Basically, I've set traps to try and see if the different AI models pick up on it. So it's a D2C e-commerce brand. I say very high quality craft packaging. Later I talk about colors, but I want the AI to kind of pick up on that I'm using this kind of craft cardboard packaging and kind of give me like natural earthy tones because of that. Minimal, clean, beautiful and elegant, exude class and luxury, generous white space. I think mentioning generous white space is really important. Otherwise it's easy for things to become cluttered. And I have a hunch that that's gonna really help the output of all of these tools be better. Try as hard to make it exciting and unique as possible. So we'll see what comes up. I suspect that a lot of these models won't be able to deviate from their system prompts and will kind of give me the same templated layouts. But I'm hopeful we'll get some more interesting things. And then yeah, I've ended it by giving it a few more specifics. I've asked it not to use photos, but just to use placeholders. And if it does have to use graphics, just use SVG so I can edit them. I've given it the fonts to use, Instrument Serif and Space Mono. Those are both Google fonts, so hopefully it'll be able to work out how to get them loaded in. I've not given it specific color palettes. A lot of the example prompts I saw were specific in calling out certain colors or shades, but I just want to see what it comes up with this prompt to use lots of earth tones. So that's the prompt. Let's see what we get.
Streets ain't safe, internet wild like a jungle. StreamYard panels where the fake thugs mumble. Virtual fist stone voices start to crumble. Chat room beef, all these egos tumble. Keyboard warriors flex, gossip like some mad queens sitting in their basements. Dirty mattress with no box springs, feeling like they got wings.
So we're back. I fed this prompt to all of these different tools, and these are the results. I put all of these screenshots into this one file to make it a lot easier to compare them. Unfortunately, Bolt didn't compile correctly, and I didn't get past the waitlist for variant in time, but we still got 23 tools to compare. Obviously, having just my opinion isn't really enough to compare them all fairly. So I invited some of my designer friends to chime in. We won't look at all of them, but here are some of the most interesting ones. So let's take a look at Magic Patterns. Now, I really liked Magic Patterns. I liked that it gave me this circle placeholder image. It definitely felt like it was trying to do something, not just like a bog standard landing page. Like I've got this thick border on this placeholder image. I've got some like nice lines here.
I think what impressed me about Magic Patterns, again, it's not perfect. Like I didn't use the correct font and the image placement isn't perfect, but I was really impressed by this bottom CTA. I really like the step-by-step guidance that it has, and I think it could be a pretty well converting landing page.
Lovable just absolutely killed it with that crazy card when you scroll down. But clearly Lovable's using reusable components here. Like it's identified well what's reusable, but still I'm going to knock it down some points because like, for example, in the reimagine section where it talks a little bit about, like, I think this layout's really strange with the numbers and the icon.
I like that we got a little scroll indicator here, although it was maybe a bit close to this image. Again, we missed some detail on a secondary button. And there are some other weird things like the way that these numbers work with these icons. But in general, it's using the right fonts, the right color palette. Mocha was another nice one, and what I liked about Mocha is it stuck to the kind of beige amber palette, but it brought in some bits of yellow. So I think this is maybe just using the default Tailwind yellow color ramp, but it's done really well, and especially this pricing card, I think this looks really good. And basically it looks almost like a finished design. I think there's very little to add here, and the glow down here is really nice. Base 44 was another nice one. We have this lovely kind of circle motif in the background, and we see the circles again. It's kind of got a consistent feeling, like it's got these fully rounded edges for inputs and buttons. Again, it's giving us a very neutral palette, which is what I wanted. It's not giving us any images, which again is what I wanted.
I thought base 44 was surprisingly clean, actually. Now, obviously minus points for not nailing the fonts, but I think this circle motif and just sort of the placement of the UI was really consistent. I'm definitely started to see a few components that were reused again and again.
Base 44 actually I was impressed by. Even though it doesn't use the fonts that you've suggested, I think it still presents a really clean and elegant design. I really like this circle accent that's got going. I think that's pretty creative. I think if I were a non-designer, I could probably make some subtle changes and I'll have a ready to go beautiful website for my incense brand.
Firebase Studio is one that Henry really liked, so I'll just pass over to him.
It probably stood out the most. Like when I zoom out to look at all of them, now there's obviously some problems, and I definitely bumped it down because of like the footer padding issue and things like that. But just sort of as I'm scrolling down, like there's no major issues. The spacing's all consistently good, the type scale's good, even like icon usage and buttons. Overall, I think Firebase is my favorite.
Figma Make was kind of cool. Like I think it did try and get the fonts right, and it mostly did. But then in some places it just, it bugged out and it didn't load them in properly. And there were some weird things about alignment of this like icon in the header. But it did some, like, this is a cool little SVG graphic it tried to make for us. And I quite like how this, the formatting of this price box over here, that's kind of unique. None of the others did something like that. So let's quickly take a look at some which didn't do such a good output. I had high hopes from Subframe because it's less of a one-shot text-to-prompt tool, and the editor is really similar to Figma, so it's closer to a design tool. However, it didn't fully nail the colors, like we still got a default blue button with a accessibility wheelchair symbol here. Didn't get the fonts right, and this whole website just wasn't responsive. If you scale the browser window horizontally, we didn't get a mobile version, it just clipped the images.
Two that I found abysmal was onlook and durable. They had no other sections to them, and it felt like it didn't follow any of your prompts, and I think it just put in generic text that vaguely spoke to what you were doing and asking, but no customer reviews, anything of that nature. So they were just lazy, didn't follow the assignment.
And Google Stitch I did not think was very good at all, despite how much they hyped it up. Like, what's this H3 stuff? What are these like terrible AI avatars that have nothing to do with what I'm saying? It's green.
When Google announced this at Google I/O, I think there was a lot of hype around the product. It had a really sleek promo video. Yeah, this is super disappointing because it doesn't follow the color scheme. It doesn't use the fonts that you suggested at all. It is not giving that it understood the assignment. This is giving clinical, not luxurious. Like the layout isn't properly segmented. There's misalignment. So yeah, this is very disappointing.
It kind of didn't read the prompt at all. Also, what it's given me just isn't code. As far as I can tell, it's a static set of, I think you can export it straight to Figma, but it seems like something they just rushed out for Google I/O this year. And it's really surprising given they have Firebase Studio, which has done so well. So Henry, Cathy, Alex, and I rated all of these 23 results out of 5 based on how much we alone liked them. I then took an average of that and combined it with scores that I gave each result for how well it used the fonts that I'd asked it to, whether it kind of stuck to the color theme that I'd been leaning towards, whether it stuck with my rule of not using real images and just using placeholders, and lastly, whether it gave me a responsive version of the design or if it was just like a static desktop version. I then added all of these up, and before I share the final scores, here are just some interesting takeaways. Lots of these tools have really similar outputs, and my hunch is that lots of them are using Claude 3.7 Sonnet under the hood. Now, while I've been preparing and recording this video, Claude released a new version, so as those improvements start to filter out, all of these tools will get better and better. Lots of the top rated tools on this list had some really similar editor features. They mostly all had ways to inspect the code that was being spat out, a way to dynamically click on elements and then change them, and a few of them had other ways to kind of dynamically edit padding by clicking on the canvas. So with all of that said, here are the final scores. As you can see, it's a complete tie at the top. We've got Lovable, Mocha, and V0, all tying for first place. And then right behind them were Firebase Studio, and surprisingly Canva was also there. It didn't do as well with our designers rating it, but what it did do really well was it stuck to all of those guidelines, which played a part in where it positioned on the scoring. Unfortunately, the ones that came right at the bottom were Visibly, Durable, and Google Stitch. They just couldn't compete with these other tools. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. It's been so much effort putting this together, and I'm really grateful to all of the people who have done similar comparisons before me that I lent on, all of the people who told me about new tools, even while I was in the middle of making this, and of course a huge thank you to Henry, Cathy, and Alex for taking the time to jump on camera and give us some feedback as well. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribing to the channel or leaving a like or a comment down below really helps me and allows me to keep making videos and tutorials and comparisons like this. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.